right, let the fun begin. This is like, I think this is probably my favorite part of building the ski is pouring the foam in. Got everything sealed up, so I'm just gonna do even parts of the foam mixtures. Good. Kind of want to mix fast. I'm doing it in small batches. I don't know what's better to do, bigger batches or smaller batches. You definitely want to mix it really well though. That's what kind of activates it. But as you can see, it's actually already starting to raise. So you want to pour it in pretty quickly. I think I need to mix in bigger batches. I'm gonna get some bigger cups. I haven't done this in a while. I put a heater on it and it's activating pretty quickly. So you definitely want to do this as the instructions say, which is 80 degrees, 90 degrees outside. I don't think you want to do it too much hotter or else it'll raise really quickly. But I think right around 80 degrees is pretty good. I did waste some, it's not activating. So make sure you do the correct temperatures and it activates right away. Everything's filled in. Small crevices that I might have to kind of brush some expanding foam into, but it's all filled in. I had to tip the ski on the sides so that it kind of raises and fills in the voids. And then I just flipped it up on the other side and did this side. But that's pretty much it. Now I'll take some saws and a multi-tool and kind of cut all this flat and cut the bottom flat. I kind of did another round of I just kind of brushed the foam into place. I kind of filled a bunch of voids where I kind of missed it, and now I can kind of sand it smooth. The sander just shreds through it, so you just barely have to put any pressure. And now I'm going to kind of round this, and I kind of brushed it on this area, so now I can get this flat on both sides, make a nice corner here. And yeah, looking good. Okay, I got it shaped and sanded. Nice straight lines. Got that filled in. And I poured some on top and then re-sanded it flat. That way it's nice and even with the other side too. And just a tip, I put the sander flat against these two lines here, and that started the angle. And once I got that flat, I just worked my way down. and that caused them both to be the same angle and same everything. So yep, just kind of showing what I did here. So next will be fiberglassing everything. I think I'm going to do some fiberglass random strand mats first, just to kind of cover this area. Then I'll do some biax across the bottom, along the corners and the sides. I'll put some biax up here too, have it layer over this part. And once the fiberglass is down, then once the biax is down, I'll then top it with some S cloth fiberglass, and we'll be good to go. I found a small problem that I'm going to have to correct. I don't know if you can see it on the video, but there's a bump on the left side, and it goes up like 1/4 of an inch. It's right back there. So see how it's really low way down here? And it's got this huge bump in the middle. So I'm actually just going to grind this line here, and the pump comes to about right here. So I'm going to cut a line all the way across and just pry this piece of fiberglass. It should just be one flat piece. It just lifts up. And then I'm going to sand the foam underneath. I might have to do some filling and stuff like that, but then I'll lay a flat piece of cloth on the bottom so I can get rid of that bump way down there. So you can't see it, but there's a big bulge right here, extending all the way back. I guess when they poured in the foam from the factory, it just pushed up against the fiberglass and caused some bad form. It probably was like that its whole life. But yeah, I'm going to sand this flat now and put some more glass. If you do, I was worried I almost cut the line that I did, so did one more coat just to kind of fill all the little holes and the bottom part that I had to pry off. Okay, I just want to show you how warped this was. Well, actually, I don't even know if you can see it. It's severely warped, and I'm glad I took that off, because now it's just perfect. I sand off that last coat of two-part foam, and it is just straight and square. I kind of chiseled these corners so it's just nice and flat. Everything looks good. This is going to be an easy glass project. So I left this lip so that I know what I need to glass to and where to level it and everything. So plus it's kind of nice to have an OEM piece left on. That way you know how deep and everything you're going. So yeah, looks good. So I made an adjustment kind of on the fly. I realized it wouldn't truly be a wide tray if I had these angles, getting rid of the space that you could shove your feet forward. So I just made a straight line across. So it's going to be even with this now. And it created kind of a geometric shape at the bottom. It kind of angles up. I'm not sure if I'm going to keep that or not. We'll see. The turf might make it look kind of cool. But yeah, I probably would recommend doing a squared off. Because after all, I mean, your goal is to create as much tray room as possible. So I think we're still looking good though. All right. Made some upgrades. I've got a microphone now. Hopefully I sound clear. I can actually talk while I move around the ski. Got a nifty little start-stop thing for my... Anyways, we're making improvements with these YouTube videos. What's up next is I'm going to be laying down the biax. So everything's shaped here. And I'll show you what biax looks like. I got a big mat from US Composites. You can buy stuff like this in bulk for really cheap. So biax is really thick and it has this nice strong backing. I'll put a little zoom so you can see what material. So there's a kind of a weave on the back, and on the other side you get the normal stranded mat. So what you want to do is, so this doesn't adhere well to anything because it actually is its own backing in itself. So we're gonna use that on the back side, and what I'll do is cut this to size. So how you want to plan this is you want it to be one sheet, especially in the corners. You want the corners to go up, because when you're doing a big wake on a jet ski and you go up, 5 feet into the air or whatnot, and you land, you don't want any seams that can separate. So you want a big transition going up the sidewalls and all throughout. So what I'm going to do is make some holes for the pump mounts right there and right here. And I'm just going to cut it all to size, get it ready. And we're going to have it come over this part here, and just a small lip to go up here as well. And for the back side, I'm going to have it come up here, down here, and up here, and leave this empty. I'm going to have it come right up to about here. So go ahead and get it cut to this shape. And you're only going to need one layer of biax. The rest is going to be additional layers of fiberglass, just random strand mats. You'll probably just do one layer of this on top of the biax. And then you're going to finish it off with S-cloth. So this is S-cloth. It makes it blend really nice, and it has a nice top layer, and it adds a lot of strength to kind of bind all the layers below it. So definitely get a roll of S-cloth, and it's really easy to bend over these corners. So that'll be our last layer. So I'm going to be using a heat gun to take away the vinyl. It's pretty easy once you apply the heat pretty thoroughly. You don't want to burn it off, but you're gonna move it up and down the area. You want to get as big as do as sections as you can. You don't want to do too much because then it gets cold. So do about that much. Just heat this whole area up and then just peel it off. You want to try to get the gooey stuff to come with it, which means you have to get it hot enough that the glue becomes melted. If you start peeling and this gets left behind, it just makes a little bit more of a mess to clean up. But even after just a few seconds of heat, you can kind of see that this starts to peel up pretty easily. You want to apply more heat to the corners that you're starting on, or else it's a little hard like that right now. I'll do a fresh corner and kind of show you. That's hot. This isn't the funnest part of the job, but you can get a big piece going. It makes it a little bit easier too. It's kind of sad. These OEM decals are pretty cool. I might buy some new ones and do the same OEM look. We'll see though. You don't want to rip too fast because then it'll break and you'll have to reheat it. And once you start getting into the colder areas, you'll notice that it'll just rip. So just kind of keep that in mind. So now it's cold, so we'll keep going and keep doing that. Get rid of it off the whole ski. Okay, so I got the sides kind of cleaned up where I'm going to be epoxying. I'll do the rest later. I was starting to get messy, so I want to seal this up so it's watertight. That way I can wet sand the rest of it. Yeah, I just sanded along on the parts where I'm going to epoxy, and I got everything cut. I decided to do the biax layer around this part, and then I'll put some glass as the next layer on top of all this, and then cut the holes. But this is all one biax layer, so all the seams are rounded up, all the corners are double lapped, so everything will be nice and watertight. And I just kind of use these so I can push into the corners and make sure everything's good while I cut it, and just kind of overlap the corners. But I'll take this off, and what I'm going to do is wet the underside with epoxy without Cabasil or anything. Just get kind of wet the bottom side, and then I'll put this all back down again, and then I'll wet the top side, and then let it dry. Once it's dry, I'll shave off all the corners, get it all nice and smooth and all the sharp edges off. And then I'll just keep glassing and sanding until it's all good. Okay, I got it all sealed, all fiberglassed. This is the first layer. I'll just kind of go over everything. So you can kind of see I did bend it over the edge just to make sure that it won't peel off or anything. So I'm going to blend this in with some fairing compound. I'm going to stack on more glass on top. And I'm going to cut this line off. I had troubles bending the biax over this gap here, so I'd either shave this off or cut the biax right here so that it folds over, or just do the biax up to the flat line there and do more glassing later with the random strand type of glass. Looks really good. I'm pretty happy the way it's turning out. I'm going to do one more layer of glass and then the S-cloth. And I got to trim this off. And then I'll sand it and paint it and we'll be good. Okay, so here's the next step. This is hardened overnight and really pleased with it. But what you're going to want to do now is sand all these bubbles. I don't know if you can see them. Like here's a big bubble right here. You want to sand all these weaknesses. The reason being is because if you glass over this right now, let's just use this bubble as an example. If you glass over this with the second layer, it's just going to raise that up again. And then when you try to flatten everything, you're going to sand down and you're going to have probably a hole or a really brittle weak spot because if everything's flat, this is going to be the part with the least amount of fiberglass. So after your first layer, you want to grind out all these bubbles and get everything to the actual shape that you want. So get rid of everything that you can see. And then your second layer is going to fill all those areas that you ground out, filling it with epoxy. And then everything's going to be even more flat while being strong. So that's the second step. So I'm going to take a grinder and start hacking away at a few things. I'm going to also take the time to grind off this area that I didn't use epoxy with. Get a nice straight line. Okay, so this is what it's like after I grinded down all the high areas, all the little bumps. I got rid of all the weak spots, so there's some now holes in the area. So this is kind of what it looks like when you grind out an air bubble. Air bubbles are pretty weak, so there's a few areas that I grinded out. So now I'm going to take a squeegee and squeegee in really thick epoxy. I want to thicken it up quite heavily. And I'm going to take a squeegee and fill in all the voids, all the holes that I now created. And I want to actually start shaping it. I mean, you can see it's a general shape is good. But when you start to zoom in, you start to see it's not fully shaped like you would want it to as the end result. So I'm going to take a squeegee and squeegee in all these little low spots. The nice thing about sanding it is it creates kind of a white texture on the high areas and it's still glossy on the low areas. So I'm just going to take a squeegee and start flattening and shaping everything and filling in everything. One last tip before you do your fairing compound. So that S cloth is not as good as regular fiberglass in terms of bubbles. So I take something pokey and kind of grind out the weak spots from the S cloth, namely just these bubbles that kind of formed. And we did plenty of layers underneath everything. I kind of circled the spots where I'm going to add more fairing compound just to make sure everything's covered. But just make sure to poke in all those holes, and you can just kind of push into them and kind of grind out those areas. And then the fairing compound will just fill in all those holes and you should be good. Okay, next step. We're going to be using Total Boat Total Fair. Comes in 2 parts to mix. Got some blue. Got some yellow. And you just want to mix them together. All right, so what you're going to do is cover pretty much everything. I'll start on this side so you can kind of see. Got the camera set up to show this other wall here. But I am just going to cover this, just like I did with the epoxy. This just gets your hole nice and flat and all the gaps filled in. And it kind of just adds that last bit of touch. This will fill in all those little holes that I created when I was breaking apart the air bubbles. So that'll fill this in. And then this top part still needs to be shaped. So that's the job of fairing compound. And it kind of helps you create these sharp corners for the turf lines at the bottom here. And I use quite a bit pretty quickly. This stuff takes a while to dry, so don't be worried about going too slow or too fast. And you want to get rid of the streak lines. It's one less thing you have to sand. And you want to go in all directions. And that looks pretty good. It's looking good, guys. Got it covered with the 2-part fairing compound. 90% of this you're going to shave off anyways, but that's part of the process. You cake it on and then you sand it flat. But that's kind of the last coat you'll do. So I'm looking good, guys, that we're getting pretty close to, we're going to have to do the top part of the hole. So that's another couple hours of work, but it's looking good. Give you some close up. I'm going to move on to the front now and kind of highlighted some of the repair areas. Like I said before, I'm going to fill this whole area. There's really no need for the water to drain out. I mean, there's so many other areas water gets trapped in. I'm not sure why they hyper-focused on this little area. And that's where it always has weaknesses too. So I'm just going to fill this whole area. I'm going to grind this out first just so I can fill the crack back in. And just some areas of note. You can kind of see some cracks there. So I'm going to either sand this down and see how far the crack goes. Might have to grind this section out. And there's been a bad repair job by the previous person, so I'm going to grind this off, fill this back in. Once more, there's just some hairline cracks. I'll sand it down and see how far it goes. That's pretty much it. There's some bad hairline cracks here and here as well. That one I'll definitely be grinding out, and this one I'll definitely be grinding out as well. And it also kind of goes down further, so that's a bad area needing repaired. And I'll probably fill all these in because I'm going to use a bumper around the side. I might use the brace on the front. It looks like that's pretty much needed based off all these hairline cracks. And I'll go ahead and take this off and get to sanding and grinding. Oh, and I filled this in with some extra epoxy that I had. I'm going to redo the pissers to be right here, kind of at an angle with the hole. And just some other things that I did with some epoxy. I reinforced these lower areas. I might put some more down in here, but this area was a little brittle and it had a crack, so I reinforced that. And reinforced those areas that I had cut into. So, all right, let's grind these out. I'll need to rip this off now too, since I'm going to be epoxying in that area. This is pretty old, so I'm just going to replace it with a new one anyways, so go ahead and rip that off. If you want a really simple tip, this is the best tool you can buy. I use it for so many different things. Just get a really thick flathead, and you can use it for a ton of purposes. In this scenario, I'm digging out all the turf residue. I mean, it just cleans it up quickly. Some people use razor blades and stuff like this, but sometimes it's just good forceful object does the trick. Okay, it's all sanded and grinded. Kind of prepped for the epoxy. I just kind of grooved out some valleys in here. I'm going to epoxy this whole area. I'll just kind of zoom in. Most of the stuff I sanded and realized it was just cracking on the paint. So you'll get a lot of paint cracking in this area. I dug down pretty deep just to make sure. I did see some cracks in this area. So a lot of these I am going to fill in with some epoxy. Namely this area too. And I kind of grinded these ribs flat. I'm going to try and blend this in so there's no bond line seams here. And also going to fill those in with epoxy. And I took this off. You had to undo the bolts, and then you have to take a crowbar and kind of hammer it in because there's a ton of silicone on here. I came in at an angle from this corner, and it kind of pried up easily, and then just kind of slowly tap it, and eventually it'll pop off. And then I sanded this all smooth. So yeah, it's gonna get ready for some epoxy. Okay, it's all glassed. I'm gonna try to get some close-ups here. Basically just want to smooth it over as best you can. I filled that area. And I'll smooth it out some more with some fairing compound. Right now it's a little bit messy, but I just want to show you what I did with the epoxy before I use the fairing compound. So next I'll sand it and do the fairing compound. Just a quick sanding tip. It's hard to sand this with some 100 grit paper, and you can use something like this with a little bit of a bezel on it. to really get in there to these corners and then shape it to the hole. So don't bother with the sandpaper, just get it with something like this and you can do it in like 5 seconds instead of an hour. So, and this is what it looks like after it's all sanded. I'm gonna do one layer of fairing compound just to get in all the cracks and little holes and divots and smooth it out all out. But pretty happy with the repairs and how they turned out. So yeah. So this part of the video, I'm not sure I'd gonna recommend to people. I'm gonna be experimenting and trying something. So I see a lot of the new holes. They like the Commander skis, and I see a lot of Superjets doing it now, where they cut this a little slit out right here so that water can flow and not hit something. So I'm gonna make a little notch right here. That's the same kind of marker as the side of the hole. So we'll see. I don't know if that's going to change the ski's performance too much. You might lose some back end grip on turns. You might gain some. I don't know. I'm going to do it and we're going to find out. I just like to be a little bit different, so we'll see. Okay, I'm pot committed with these cutouts. So it just lets water flow all the way back without hitting a bond line. I think it looks nice. Okay, it's ready for some primer. I'm going to do the entire hole with just some cheap rattle can paint because I'm going to spend a lot of time sanding it down again and getting it all smooth. This is mainly just to cover up everything so I can easily identify what still needs to be adjusted. So yeah, just let's start going. So the main thing for the primer is, because I used like Bondo and sandable fillers and everything, you're gonna get areas that kind of absorb more than others across the entire bottom. And you're also gonna be able to find all the little pinholes, like that one right there. Just all the little imperfections that you can then use the spot putty to fill in. I also noticed some areas back here with holes and just some other stuff that I need to kind of touch up. So primer is always good. I'm going to be sanding all of this down once it's dry. And yeah, I did about 2 coats before I'm going to start sanding it. But make sure you kind of go rich in the areas that are very absorbent. And yeah, good to go. Going to show you what hours and hours and hours of sanding does. But those lines are real straight, and this looks great. So pretty happy. Looks good. So I started doing the top deck, and I got a initial layer of white primer on, and it turned out really nice. I think I like white. I might just stay white, but I found a lot of imperfections just like I did the bottom. So I'm just filling all the little pinholes and gonna sand that off next. So I'm not gonna take footage of me painting because that's just really boring, but I'm gonna show you kind of half of the project done. So this corner isn't done yet, but I'll just swing the camera around and let you see the finished half. But yeah, it's just really nice and glossy, and it kind of covers up all the holes. And this is can't see the container, but it's total bilge, total boat, total bilge is what the paint is actually called. And it's a bilge coat, so it protects the hole against oil and gas, and it keeps it clean. The nice thing about doing this is you can see, like if you put it all white, you can see blowout marks. So if you just quickly look in the hood and you see like soot, you know that you might have a coupler that's broken. So I like having the engine bay really clean, and it just helps you identify cracks and things that go wrong really easily inside your engine bay, and it makes it look really nice. So I actually just used like an 80-cent brush. If you go on thick, it kind of self-levels. So it actually has a nice glossy finish even with a cheap brush. So no need to spray it, just kind of brush it on and get in all the corners, and it looks good. Okay, we're gonna start painting. And this is gonna be my first time doing a gel coat. So we'll see how that goes. I'm gonna be using Total Boat gel coat with some reducer. It comes with some MEKP to harden it. And I'm gonna be using a black gel coat pigment. Basically, I'm going to use half of this quart, and this will take about just a kind of a dollop, basically, of this pigment, and then I'm going to use half of this bottle for half of a quart of MKP, and I'm using the reducer because I've got a cheap gun, and I only have a 1.4 tip. We're going to try it. Like I said, this is the first time doing gel coat. The trick is to have all the cleaning supplies ready, and because it sets up within 15 minutes. So you just got to work fast. That's the nice thing about paint. You can do different layers. You can take your time and sand it and get it all glossy, whereas gel coat, you're just going. You've got to go fast. Then you've got to get your gun cleaned. You can buy a $15 gun for, at Harbor Freight and just throw it away instead of cleaning it, because gel coat is extremely taxing to get it cleaned out. So we'll see. Let's. So as far as prepping, you're just going to want to tape around the edges. You're going to want to cover the ground if you're doing your garage. You don't want to do it outside because you're going to get bugs and everything in it. And you're going to want to do a primer coat and then sand it. So that's what I've already done, is primed it, then sanded it. It's ready to go. And we'll just start spraying. I'm not going to go over painting, tips in painting too much, because I'm going to be learning myself. But I'll go ahead and film it. So I've learned you can actually brush it on, and it adheres a lot better than spraying it. Spraying it, it would orange peel and do some really weird things, but you can actually brush it on and it looks pretty good. I mean, it's not perfect, but this gel coat I'm a new big fan of. I mean, it's really durable. Definitely is better for rocks and sand. There were some spots that don't look the best. I might do one or two more coats on. I mean, you could definitely do a paint job a lot better than gel coat. Overall, I'm pretty happy with it, except for this area. It just wasn't adhering very well. The problem with gel coat is you really have to let it dry for like a week. Like right now, this part down here is dried. It's been about a week. I do have a top layer that I brushed on, and it's still, you can kind of put your fingernails into it, and you can kind of feel the kind of jelly consistency. But down here, it's like rock. Same with this stuff that kind of dripped in. I mean, it's just hard as a rock, which is going to be awesome to have on the bottom of your ski. So overall, I think gel coat is worth it. In fact, now knowing that you can just brush it on and it looks just as good as spraying it, this area, it looks bad because of spraying it, and I've been slowly trying to fix it with brushing it on. But yeah, the rest of the ski is brushed, and it just looks great. So if you don't have fancy equipment, you can get it looking really good with just brushing it on. I just finished painting it, and it looks great. I don't think I could have done a better paint job. It looks pretty good. A little wavy in some areas, but I mean, this beats the crap out of rattle can paint. So pretty happy. I got a bug in one area, somewhere up here, right there, but looks really good. I've got to touch up the bottom part. I didn't tape it very well, so just keep that in mind. I've got a blowout mark, so I've got to kind of touch this up with some black. I might just paint it. I haven't really thought of what I'm going to do to cover that up. I might have to buy some more gel coat, so we'll see. Well, it's a sad day. It's raining out, and I'm departing with my 1100. I'm selling to a guy in eastern Idaho, so hopefully he's happy. But on to new projects.